John and Darin's office chairs provided by GT Omega Racing. You can check them out at gtomegaracing.com. This show brought to you by Welcome to This Week Inside Sim Racing, December 2nd edition. I'm Darin Ganji alongside John Sable, and great to be back live. Man, that was a tough hiatus.
It was, and it's even tougher coming back, 'cause it's like, what do we do with our hands?
What do we do with our hands? Wait, what are we doing here?
Well,
I was actually nervous today.
Yeah,
and I had gotten over the nerves after week 2. But if you didn't see last week's show, we had a major windstorm rush through here on the 17th, day before a live show 2 weeks ago, on the 18th, and knocked out power. We were without power for 76 hours. We just got internet back yesterday. So I almost missed the internet more than the power.
Yeah, no, not having internet is really hard. I mean, we were going I spent way too much time and money at Starbucks.
And I've blown through 75% of my data on my phone because I was tethering to my laptop, and man, it was... Anyway, we're glad to be back. Thank you for joining us today. We'd appreciate a like on this video, thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't yet to stay on top of all the current Inside Sim Racing videos. So on today's show, we've got a lot to talk about. Assetto Corsa Update 1.35, iRacing McLaren Previews, the Valentino Rossi, the game, the Next Level Motion Platform V2, Forza Mobil 1 Car Pack, Project Cars Preview. We also had a poll in our forums. As a matter of fact, go to our forums, check out that poll if you haven't yet. And
yeah, the link's in the description of the show.
Okay.
So click on that and go.
Yeah, the poll was, what did you buy for Black Friday, or did you buy something for Black Friday? Oh, by the way, guys, let us know if our volumes are okay. We did some readjustment on XSplit here, and if we're too loud, too quiet, please let us know in the chat as we're rolling here, just to make sure we're not blowing your guys' eardrums out. We also got a tech tip on how to set up triple screens in rFactor 2, because a few weeks back, our last live show, we said that rFactor 2 didn't have native support.
Yes.
For bezel adjustment and all that, and it does. We're going to show you how that works. What else we got? Q&A?
Q&A, and like you said, it's going to be talking about some of the stuff we have going on here. Got a lot of plates in the air right now.
Yep.
As we get towards the end of the year.
Lots of juggling. So, John, why don't you start off with the Assetto Corsa news?
Yeah, and this was last week, end of last week, Assetto Corsa came out with update 1.3.5, and not a huge update as far as, I don't know, new features or whatnot, but you did get the new Audi R8 V10 bonus car, which looks pretty fancy. And then outside of that, let me kill that. Here's some of the updates as we move on over to the freshly revamped website.
So there's a 1.3.6 as well?
There's a 1.3.6 as well, and I don't know if it's partly fixing some things that were broken from 0.5, but I mean the biggest thing that came out in 0.5, I think, is the tire heat model and then optimization of multi-threaded cars. So I think those are kind of the two things to come out of that.
Cool. Great to see that they continue to update, and I always say that when somebody updates something.
I realized our chat box wasn't up, so.
Oh, good one, John.
Whoops.
Where's the chat box? Where's the chat box? You guys want to join us, don't you? Actually, I think we can still cover.
Yeah.
We're okay there. Yeah, because it's...
Okay, I minimized it. Okay.
We're good.
Issues.
Hey, man, we're a little rusty.
We are.
So, next up, iRacing McLaren Previews were released.
And I'm going to play this one at full volume.
Oh, you are?
Yep, because you want to hear it. It's only 10 seconds.
Okay, let's let it go. Let's play that real quick.
Okay, so that was the preview that was just released, I think just like a couple hours ago or so. And now here are the images that iRacing put out last week of the new McLaren Honda MP4-30. Always got to get
You're
those.
sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure about that. We had some questions, I think, on last show. But no, looks very pretty, especially in the 4K images they released.
Yeah, that does look really nice. And we're actually going to be test driving this. Hopefully we'll have it out and a Nordschleife test drive by the end of the week. We were hoping to do one live today, but just didn't have that all situated. We want to get this all done. I was editing that PlayStation 4 buyer's guide. You were editing the BenQ triple screen monstrosity.
Yep.
So anyway, we should have that out by the end of the week. So I'm really looking forward to it. We get to drive it briefly.
Yes.
But
very, very briefly.
Sound is really cool on it.
Yeah, sound is very cool, and I mean it's kind of funny because you were like, well, everyone complains about the sounds of the F1 cars, but I think if done properly, and someone said like the F1 cameras don't do a very good job of it, they sound cool in person. There's a lot of popping and cracking and stuff like that, and it seems like iRacing's capturing that pretty well.
Well, they got Greg Hill, so they have two Greg Hills working for iRacing now. Aussie Greg Hill, the sound genius, and Greg Hill, the American, the track design genius. So they continue to add to their growing team, and it's just, man, it's like a team of superstar sim racing developers.
They are, but yeah, really looking forward to those sounds, and I guess there's a whole bunch of other new sounds coming out next week.
You know, it's funny too. I've seen some comments. I just saw one in chat about that car's a dog, and sure, it was this last season. It was horrible. The McLaren was, back marker.
Yep.
All season long with two great drivers.
Yes.
And everybody has to drive that car.
Yeah.
When they're racing in the iRacing F1 series. So it's not like the Ferrari's going to be in there and the Mercedes and the Red Bull car. It's just the McLaren. So
Yes.
Sure, it's a dog, but we're all going to have to race against each other in it. So,
Yes.
So anyway. So what do we got next?
Next up, the MotoGP title has a new name next year, and it will be the Valentino Rossi The Game, with, I hope, 100% more kicking.
Yeah, I hope it kicks really good. It's funny, too. I had a conversation with an Italian friend of mine, and he's adamant that Valentino Rossi did not kick Marquez. I mean, it sure looks like it, but then he had an explanation about how Marquez came up next to him. And anyway, I'm getting off subject here, but yeah, so it seems like he's like the poster boy now for that license or that title.
Yes.
And that is one thing Milestone does pretty good, and that's the motorcycle titles.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, I kind of wonder if Milestone went to MotoGP asking if they want to kind of give us the Tiger Woods treatment of putting, Rossi on the cover, because they also do rally, and they have Sebastian Loeb, maybe? Loeb. Damn it. One of these days. Anyway, that game's coming out in January, and that's a rally title. And Valentino has done some rally in his life. So they talked about how they're going to kind of follow the footsteps of, not only hitting the motorcycle, but also some of the stuff he's done outside of two wheels.
Right.
So talking about having a rally car and I think maybe a couple other things.
That'll be interesting.
So yeah, that's...
There was rumor of him testing for like F1 or something a while back.
He drove a Ferrari F1 car one time. So part of me, I remember that, I was like, but I didn't see anything listed in there about an F1 car. So
yeah, I don't think that's happening. So, as a matter of fact, speaking of motorcycle games, we've got Alan Beaton, IA Systems Computer Controls, in our chat, and he's sending us one of those motorcycle controls soon. So, wouldn't that be a nice Christmas gift? You won't be here to enjoy it, though, if we get it. But anyway, he's working on that. Thanks, Alan, for thinking about us and getting that to us. Well, eventually getting that to us. So, if you don't, now you're going to be looking bad in the live show here. So anyway, on to some other news. Next Level announced their V2 of their motion platform. We have the V1 here. And it looks pretty, I mean, as far as the motion goes, it looks very similar to V1. But supposedly they've added some like vibration effects in here too. So and there's like a butt kicker mount on the back too. So, but they're saying that you're going to feel some more vibration, or you're going to feel vibration through it, where the other one was just movement.
Yeah, it's all about vibration. They also said that they sped up the connection, so you're getting it, saying 200% faster. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, this is kind of this footage here. You guys really rocking and rolling.
Yeah, that's too much. That would be too much for me.
Yeah.
But then they say in the video here, here's where the toned down a little bit. Looks like he's running iRacing. It is iRacing, and that is way too much movement for me in motion.
Yeah, then it jumps over Project Cars here, and this is more what we ran the V1 at, which is definitely a lot. I don't know. I think this is the perfect amount. It gives you motion, but you're not being thrown around.
Yep. Someone just asked where the. Let's go back to the news desk here. Someone just asked where's the dollar sign. Because so you had said in YouTube gaming,
yeah,
you can donate like on
yes.
Twitch.
Yes.
I don't know if we have that set up. Even if you are, so I think you would have to watch their YouTube gaming, and maybe you guys can check it out while we're live here. Go to YouTube gaming and see if there's a donate button. I think I have to. Chris Barr just asked, and thanks for wanting to donate $1. We appreciate it. Buy John a partial cup of coffee at Starbucks.
Oh man, we're a third of the way there.
Anyway, back to the motion platform. Yeah, it looks cool, and they told me that was coming, and they're a sponsor of the show, so kudos to them for.
Yeah, I do really like the look of it.
It looks a lot better. Well, and you're going to be able to adapt to other rigs.
Yeah, that's
a lot easier.
That's what I'm looking forward to, and that was something I don't know if they really touched on that in the video, probably because they want to sell
They
nice
did.
levels.
There was something that said adaptable to other chassis.
Okay.
I think there was a text box that said that towards the end.
Gotcha. Yeah, I really want to see that, but no, it's a good-looking little piece, and kind of like that everything's contained and. Yeah.
Looks a lot better, a lot more sporty. Looks kind of space age.
It does. It does.
Looks like a space station.
It does. I'm trying to think what the price was off the top of my head. I think it was
$3,000.
$3,000. Okay.
Up $500 from the last version.
Yeah. So.
And the last version's discontinued.
Yes.
So, you know what? I want to mention something really quick. A retraction to a video we just put out before I forget. We just did the Club Sport V2 review.
Yes.
And we mentioned in that review, and we don't have any footage of it here, but we mentioned in that review that when you attach the pedals to the base, that it's only 8-bit resolution, or 256 steps. That is the case with all pedal sets except for the Club Sport V3 pedals, and you get 10 bits of resolution when plugged into the base.
Yes.
So anyway, Thomas brought that to my attention. I looked at their website. It didn't say anything about it. We were mainly using the Club Sport V2s, and then we tried it with some Logitech G pedals, and those were 256 steps. So anyway, if you watch that review and you're wondering, Club Sport V3 is connected to that base, 10-bit. 12-bit if you connect it to the PC.
Yes.
On those pedals.
And
so.
and in the review, I added an annotation yesterday.
I saw it.
Any new people watching it should be good to go there.
Should be clear.
Yeah. And also, speaking of resolution, we were talking about it the other day. I think at some point, probably in the new year, we'll do a video talking about resolution and bits and all that kind of stuff. Because we get that question a lot.
I just heard a doorbell.
Yeah.
And we're waiting for a UPS package. And hopefully that's it.
Just on time.
Yeah, we're supposed to be getting the Fanatic CSL rim today. And if so, my wife's home, and she's going to bring it down to us. So I can hear, you guys may hear Charlie barking. Everybody asks about Charlie now. How's Charlie? You know what? Charlie scratches the hell out of me. Look at all the scratches I got on my arm from Charlie.
Oh man, those are good ones.
Well, I play pretty rough with him, so. So anyway, back to your regularly scheduled news.
Yeah, where are we at now?
Forza Mobil 1 car pack. That just came out within the last day or so, right?
Yes, this was released yesterday on the 1st, which is kind of the standard operation for Forza. And yeah, I got a bunch of pretty cool cars here. Have the most expensive car in the world, the Koenigsegg.
Koenigsegg.
Is it the 1-1? I don't know what's up with that naming. Anyway, that's a $4 million.
Koenigsegg 1.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's a $4 million car, which I saw a video yesterday of one crashing, which they called the most expensive single car crash ever.
I remember seeing something about that.
Oh, and I have an issue with this right here. They're showing the 1990 Chevrolet Indy car, and it's and they had it running in the wrong direction at Indianapolis.
Did they?
Yeah, they had to run it
Well,
on the
wait.
road course, which they didn't do that in the 90s.
Oh.
So I was kind of like, come on, guys. But anyway, there's the car pack, and pretty awesome. Do you want me to exit stage?
Exit stage right. Yeah, get our package.
Oh, 2-pack. Can you push him over a little closer? You don't want to come Vanna White?
I'm good.
Andrea doesn't want to come on camera. This has got to be the rim.
This is the rim.
So why don't you go to the next news story? Keep talking about this car pack, and I'll open this box.
Oh man, I don't know how much more I have to talk about it. You kind of saw them all there, but I do think it's a cool pack. And for the most part, Forza comes out with some pretty good packs. There's not a lot of cars in there where you're like, what are you doing? Why is it a bunch of repeats? So I thought that was pretty nice. Moving away from Forza, Project Cars also released some new content yesterday, as Darin goes at this box. And they released images of the Radical RXC and Delore DW12 IndyCar. And these are both coming to the title, but we're not fully sure how. The Radical was announced back in like spring of 2014, and so assume that's coming as DLC. The DW12 and IndyCar, on the other hand, and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we're not fully sure. For a while there, it was talked up as DLC for Project Cars. Now there's been rumors about it coming out for Project Cars 2 this summer. So, might have to wait a little bit for that, which I think is kind of a bummer considering it was promised for Project Cars. Oh man, did I fill the time? We good?
You filled it perfect. Look at that. Fanatic Boxing is always so pretty.
They do a really nice job.
So our big question was rubber wrap or leather wrap. We couldn't tell by the pictures. You said it looked rubber.
I said leather first, and someone pointed out to me, and I do think it might be rubber.
How cool. I told John before we went live, I said, you know what, we may be doing an unboxing on the show. And I said, luckily Andrea's here, and I told her to bring it down if we got it. And bam! We got it. So this is the Fanatic CSL rim. If you're not familiar with it, 140 bucks.
Yes, correct.
This retails for 140 bucks.
It might be 170 in euros.
Ooh,
I
wait a
believe.
second here.
What do we got?
What's up with that quick release?
Yeah, they have a new quick release on this.
This is the one we talked about, and I talked about a more affordable quick release,
Yes.
and Thomas is like, "Oh, our clients don't want that." Is this plastic, or is this just it's cold because it's really cold out here?
It's rubberized
It's rubber.
plastic. Yeah, but it is rubber.
Interesting.
Yeah, see, well, when they came with the pictures, I knew it wasn't going to use the hub, which, I think is a good move. In our review, there was different opinions everywhere, but we thought the hub could be quite pricey if you wanted to change out a lot of different wheels. But
Giving you guys a little. So here, you guys get a closer look at that.
yeah, that silver ring, gonna have to kind of play with that mechanism, see what that's like. That's interesting. It's too bad I got the V2 base over well off camera, so if that was a little closer, we'd grab that and try to put it on.
So yeah, this makes the Xbox. So this basically puts you at 600, 700, 740 bucks for the base and the rim, and then if you got the cheap CSR pedals, it's another 80 bucks.
Correct. That's why over the weekend on Black Friday, they had this and the base V2 for $650. $90 off, which was a pretty good deal. I think a lot of people actually jumped on that.
You know what?
Any of you guys tried that?
Oh wait, here's the tuning menu.
Yeah, that's the menu. And this light changes colors. It's a shift light as well. Which I think is a really cool idea. I like that it's integrated into that centering.
It's kind of a trick. I mean, it's cold because it was just outside, but
And it's snowing here.
yeah, it's definitely a different type of rubber than I felt on any. Here, why don't you get a quick gander?
It has a pretty good diameter. I believe it's 30 centimeters. Yeah, that's a 30 centimeter rim. I couldn't remember off the top of my head. Let's see if I can not. If you hear it crashing, that's the wheel falling.
That's John's fault.
That's my fault.
So now, what I'm curious about is this PC and PS4 mode? That just answered my question. So my question was, does this thing work on the PC, PS3, and PS4? And
Yep.
it does.
Yep.
So it would have been nice to have that for the buyer's guide that we just did.
Yeah, and this.
I think we mentioned it, though, at the end.
Yeah, and this is kind of interesting. This is kind of like a cheaper, funky stick right there. So, no, I mean it doesn't. I don't know. It feels about what it's priced at.
Yeah.
It's entry level, but it still has a pretty nice metal face with the black aluminum.
Yep.
The rest of the actual more like casing itself is plastic.
And it's definitely different on the quick release.
Yeah, that's definitely different. That's going to be interesting.
Well, I think that'd be cool if they offered more of these to lower the price of their rims.
Yes.
Just in general. I honestly would like, actually that grip's pretty good.
No,
It's better. When I first took it out, I'm like, whoa, this is plastic, but no, it's grippy.
It is.
It's not too, it's hard.
And I don't mind rubber grips too much. We talked about the T300. I ran that base regular rim for a long time until we got the Alcantara one, because I thought it was fine. So, very cool. What happens when you have a live show? That's why it's so much more fun to have this actually working and having internet.
Yeah, and then we get to do a live unboxing like that. I love doing the live unboxings.
Yes.
That's fun. Fun stuff. Okay, on to some more news. So you talked Project Cars, right?
Talked Project Cars, yeah. Talked about how it looks like the Radical is going to be coming at some point in DLC. The Indy cars is more of a questionable thing. I was kind of hoping they were going to update the Indy cars to the new 2015 body kits, like they have in Forza, but it looks like it's the old DW12. But still happy to see Indy cars. I like Indy cars a lot. Of course, one thing though, when they did say that they were coming out with the Speedway and the cars back 2 years ago, they said it was going to be out in 2015, and they said it was going to have full flag rules and all that kind of stuff, which we saw with the release of the stock cars recently in R Factor 2. Getting all those oval flag rules when you're not an oval title is a lot of work.
Well, I know the ARCA guys, the ARCA Sim Racing guys, the Sim Factory, when they basically took the R Factor 1 engine and created ARCA Sim Racing, that was a big deal on getting all those rules right and the suspension, and they had to have like tweaks that weren't available on the engine. So yeah, there's a lot of variables and variation to going from, like you said, just a road course, mostly road course racing, to oval racing. And whether it's rules, suspension, car setup, all that stuff, it definitely, there's a lot to it.
Yeah, so hopefully the guys over at SMS have been working on that for a while, because that's not going to happen overnight, and before you know it, we'll be at the release of Project Cars 2.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. So John put up a poll. Let's see if we've got any more answers on that, saying, what did you buy on Black Friday?
I'm refreshing it here.
Or did you buy anything on Black Friday? So I answered no, which was the biggest. Actually, let me pull. I'm having a hard time reading it from there.
Yeah,
so let's,
right now, no's the biggest one. I added the caveat, is it because you already have everything, or are you broke? And then there's plenty of other categories there, including now the game/software sides. That's when I first put up the poll. I forgot to add that. That's kind of important. So
just a little.
So yeah, if you guys want to go over there and vote, and what we're going to try to do is do a poll, introduce a new poll every week here on the live show, and then the following week we'll talk about the results, and hopefully we'll kind of get some communication up and talk about different subjects and see what you guys out there are doing.
Well, and we'll try to have it out earlier in the week too. We just put this up last night or this morning.
Yeah. This is this week's poll, and we'll look at the final results next week. So it'll give you a week to go and vote on stuff.
So far we've got 4 people bought a wheel, 3 people bought pedals, 2 bought a shifter, 3 bought computer parts, 1 bought speakers, 9 got nothing. They got everything they want, or they're broke. 3 got game software, and 1 got sim racing peripherals. Now you made a couple Black Friday buys, didn't you?
I did.
Or were they Black Friday? But I know you just bought Office.
Yes, I bought Office. I switched over right before we lost power. I switched over to, I bought a new copy of Windows 7 that was legal. And then
It was legal.
Huh?
It was legal.
I know, my previous copy wasn't. Come at me, Microsoft.
Pirate!
Come at me, Microsoft. So,
John was the musketeer, now he's the pirate. Too bad we didn't have like a graphic where you could put like a pirate hat and a patch on your eye.
I thought the musketeer was a whole kind of like steal from the rich, give to the poor.
Yeah, I guess.
Microsoft seems rich enough. But anyway, so I bought a legit version of Windows 7 on eBay for like $65, saved $35 over retail, and then put that on a new SSD drive that I got, which is so much better. Upgraded to Windows 10, so now I'm to 2015 now, and I don't have to. I used to turn on my computer and walk away for like 10 minutes.
I don't think we talked about you getting your 970 video card either.
Did we? Maybe. I don't remember.
That may have been...
We might have, because that happened while I was gone, and then the week I came back. Anyway, running an EVGA 970 FTW Plus card from them to power the BAT. You'll see it in the review that's coming out tomorrow. Also have a little preview to show you guys today. And so thanks to EVGA for sending those out. I'm eventually going to do a show or a couple shows maybe around that graphics card, showing how it performs on sim racing titles. Because that's one thing, anytime I look at reviews for graphic card, it's all like Fallout and all these titles that aren't sim racing.
Yeah.
So and some of those are really hard on graphics cards.
Sim racing titles are just as hard or harder.
I think some are. I think Project Cars is hard. I think the Codemasters are hard. But but iRacing's not hard. Assetto Corsa runs really well as well. GameStop car, R-Factor. So I think so I want to do a little more focus towards you guys out there. So if you're looking to purchase a card and you only do sim racing, then you can focus that way.
Yeah, we got some great answers too in that thread. Somebody bought a year sub of iRacing. They had that half-off deal going.
I need to buy another year or two.
2 people bought that. Transducer and amp with SimVibe software, T3 PA pedals. What else? Someone was hoping to get a deal on an i5, TH8A shifter. So there was lots of great deals. One of I think the best deals in all of sim racing is what Sim Experience had going on.
Yes.
With the AccuForce and the new AccuForce. By the way, I think that base AccuForce is still available for purchase. Not at the same price that it was. I think they're going to add that to their lineup now.
Okay.
That's not confirmed through Sim Experience, but I was at their site just yesterday, and it was still listed.
Okay.
So, anyway, yeah, there's always some great Black Friday deals going on in sim racing, it seems.
Yes.
Fanatec had one. Next Level, we just talked about them. I think the American guys, the American distributors, they had one. iRacing's always got their deal. Race Room.
Let's talk about the Race Room one. That was interesting. So they had 500 copies. I don't have anything to show you here. They had like 500 codes that if you paid, I think it was 49.99 euros, you got all the content, which was a pretty cool deal. And I know that got extended from Black Friday to Cyber Monday, so I don't know if they didn't quite fulfill those 500 codes, or I don't know if they just wanted to open up for more people. And they also had like 30% off individual content. So that was cool. I know like Assetto Corsa was like 50% off, Project Cars was 50% off, Dirt Rally was like 20% off, so there were some pretty good deals over the weekend.
Dirt Rally, full title coming soon. We'll talk about that later, but
coming soon.
Not today on this show, but looking forward to that final release or full release.
Yeah.
Out of the early access. So anyway, yeah, hopefully you got to take advantage of some of those Black Friday deals. Back to iRacing real quick. They have that same deal, and to really take advantage of your subscription, you got to jump on that, which I think that deal might still be going.
I hope so.
Because it's $49 for a year, which ends up, when you do the math and if you participate, it ends up being like $4 for a whole year for the subscription. But they do that twice a year, once now and once like in June or so. So if you're on the fence about an iRacing subscription, you shouldn't be, and take advantage of that deal because it's a great deal. And again, as long as you participate, you get your anniversary credits and your participation credits. It's like $4 a year.
Yeah.
So
saw a comment here saying that Race Room sold out of the 500 and added more. So good to hear. Like to see some more people. I got to get Race Room back loaded on my system. Part of wiping everything clean is putting all the games back on, and I got to get Race Room back up. And Assetto Corsa, let me know if we'll get to Q&A, but let me know if anyone's having issues. I can't get it to launch like 90% of the time. I click play and it gives me a running. And once in a while, when I have been able to get in there, all my graphics settings are correct, because we had that issue.
Remember, I was going to say you checked your graphics settings.
Everything's right resolution-wise. So I don't know what it is. I click it, it says it's running, nothing happens. I try to even exit out of Steam, and it says I can't exit out because a game's running. So I have to go to Task Manager and kill it there. So that's an odd thing that only popped up here in the last, I don't know, a couple weeks. So if you have any help.
Any tips, please share them with us. Next up, so a couple weeks ago we talked about, don't go to the thing yet because I want to
Give a
background.
background.
Give a little,
Okay.
exactly, backstory to it. So we talked about rFactor 2, and we mentioned at the top of the show, not having native triple screen support. And I got hammered. People were like, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean you don't know rFactor 2 doesn't have support? Well, so anyway, Avenger, Richard McNaughton, who I think I saw. Yep, he's here. Hey, Richard. Hey, Wim. Hey, everybody. Anyway, they pointed out that you can do it. And I farted around and couldn't get it to work, and then I finally figured it out. So, that being said, rFactor 2 now has triple screen support, and you can adjust it on the fly. Now let's run the video, because then I can talk about it as we go. So to do it, what you got to do is go into the options, and then go to controls, basically follow what I'm doing here, and then go to miscellaneous here. And then as you see, there's a setting that's called triple/tire. And then it's control/alt, and then I have it's control equals, and then this little box pops up. And this is just as powerful or just as effective as the one in Assetto Corsa. And I would love to see something like this in iRacing and every sim racing title. And you can adjust bezels, you can adjust the angle of your side monitors, you can adjust your distance, and it makes a huge difference. So anyway, again, I'd like to thank Richard McNaughton and anybody else that had given me that tip, but he helped me a bunch in our forums. And it, like I said, it makes a big difference as far as getting that field of view adjusted properly.
Yeah,
what are you laughing at?
I wish you would have jumped to maybe, I think, was it the Corvette that has the air vent?
Oh, the gigantic air vent on the side?
Yeah, and when you don't have the triple monitors set up, the air vent you can stick like your hand through. But this looks good.
Yeah, look at the rear view mirror.
Uh-huh.
Not the side mirror, but the in-car. Look at how the bezel, it's like... It's
perfect.
And look at the dash. How
Yeah.
the lines across the dash, and look where the rear view mirror is. Anyway, it works freaking great.
Awesome. See something?
Yeah, I had to block some troll. So anyway, thanks guys for showing us that. That's our tech tip. I wanted to do a little special graphic and music intro for our tech tip of the week. We're going to try to have a tech tip every week on the show. So that was our tech tip for this week. And again, I'd like to thank Richard and some other guys for showing us that cool feature, showing me how to use it. Originally, it was all text-based. You had to go in and I hate editing INI files.
I agree.
Pain in the ass. I mean, a lot of times it does the job, but I didn't want to do all these measurements, and then Richard's like, oh no. I think he originally told me control equals, and the field of view was just adjusting. And then I went in and I made sure it was mapped, and once it was mapped, everything worked great.
I do think they need to make it a little easier there in the UI to get to it. Because it isn't obvious, and anything should be obvious.
Yes.
All this stuff should be very intuitive. And
Well, and something that powerful, too.
it's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
I mean, had us fooled.
Yep. So should we go to Q&A or talk about what we got coming up?
No, let's see. Let's talk a little bit about. We kind of already touched on the CSW video that we released. Pretty much had.
We touched on the PlayStation Buyer's Guide.
We touched on the PlayStation Buyer Guide. That's out now. So if you guys haven't check that out after the show. Really, really cool piece. Really happy how that turned out.
I am too, and we're getting some great feedback on it. So, yeah, we got an Xbox One. Did you say that already? Xbox One Buyer's Guide coming.
Yep.
So, and then to follow up on the CSW V2, we've got basically like a mini review or how it performs on the Xbox One. Going to use that new rim,
Yeah, absolutely.
to check that out, as well as the other rim. Which, do we have that handy?
I
It's
don't
around
know.
here somewhere.
I don't know where it's at. Rims everywhere.
So yeah, and then we got, someone just asked, has Darin got any new monitors coming? I sure hope so, man.
We're gonna work on it.
Just like some of you guys, I've got monitor envy. I've got my little 22s over there. You just saw them in that video, and John's got the bat over there. Friggin' monstrosity. You can sit it and it sounds like you're in a cave.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know if I brought that video over.
which one?
Fired. I brought over a little clip of the review for the triple screen.
Oh, why, to make us all more jealous?
Yes.
I have to look at it all the time. But the thing is, I can't even see John in the rest of the room when he's in there. He's like got to either peek his head under or like get out of the rig to show his head.
Oh man, no, I don't have it. Oh well, but the review will be out tomorrow, so you'll be able to see it then. I hope you guys like it.
And we got the test drive we talked about, the iRacing McLaren and Nordschleife. And do we have the new website? Did you?
I don't, but I can do some.
You can navigate it to it. Actually, it's there, right there.
Let me navigate.
You guys check out our new website. Pretty fancy.
Pretty fancy. So it runs a lot smoother. I think it's a lot more intuitive. Like
It's a lot cleaner too.
I mean, let me show, for example, we used to have a bit of a struggle opening like pictures, and now if you come over to iRacing and look at these McLaren pictures, they open up. This opens up a lot faster as it struggles because it's a 4K photo.
Yeah, so we're downloading those on the fly as we're uploading too. Hopefully we don't.
Yeah, maybe I just broke everything.
And hopefully, yeah, you're not killing our bandwidth.
But nope, that's the new website, and yeah, no, a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah, forums are. I just updated the forums to a new.
You want to head over there?
Yeah, you were there.
Okay.
Change the theme on the bottom really quick too. So go to the ISR light theme. So we had the themes were broken for a couple days, and so it's going to look a lot more like that. I'm going to change the color scheme a little bit so it matches our new logo and our website. But yeah, everything's up and running. Yeah, and thanks for the logo. Actually, somebody was supposed to be working on one, and I know he's been busy. Wim. But anyway, that most likely is just going to be temporary, almost like a placeholder, and our good buddy Wim is working on, and no rush, Wim, by the way, is working on a new logo for us. So, and funny too is I wish we had an image of it. Somebody created a Forza livery with that new logo, and it looked pretty cool.
It did look good.
So now I think it's time for Q&A. Applause for the new website. Thank you, Rick Fast. So why don't you guys start throwing some questions at us here and see if we can find some. I don't have any written down we didn't really get many people at the top of the show.
No.
I don't think people thought maybe we fell off the planet here. We can go back to the any new monitors for Darin question. No, not yet. We're hoping to. Ben Q doesn't send us some. I'm just thinking about pulling the trigger and buying some. So let's see what else we have for questions.
Oh, people are asking, are we going to come out with a store with tees and mugs? You know, at some point would like to have some swag. I know you guys have asked about it a lot, and we were putting the brakes on it for a while, especially when we first started the live show, because we knew there was going to be some changes upcoming. But would like to, once we get things a little more stable and get the website where we want it, because the website's still kind of a work in progress. Same with the forums, as you saw. And we get the logo set, we'll start working. We can see if we can get some stuff made.
Yeah, that was something we were holding up. We were waiting on. And Wim, I was kidding, buddy. He says it's coming. He had some more work than expected.
Yeah,
don't even sweat it.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was just giving you a little crap, but and we very much appreciate you doing that for us. So no rush on that. So what was our take on the Fanatic wheel here? Why don't we bring it back up real quick? Why don't you look for some more questions, and I'll just... it looks pretty cool. Definitely a different quick release here. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this all works.
That's a little different.
Yeah. You know, it feels a lot like their CSR paddles.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I got a feeling this is a lot, maybe a lot of the same technology as their old CSR stuff. But it's cool. We're really looking forward to trying it out. Ooh, that thumbstick. Does that turn?
Does it?
No.
I thought it was just up, down.
It is. I bet the little wrench, I bet that opens the tuning menu. So anyway, we're looking forward to trying that out. We're also working on something else with Fanatic. They sent us some parts for the Club Sport brakes. I think it's pretty much public knowledge because they're beta testing it in their forums. Anyway, we got the performance brake mod for the Club Sport pedals that just arrived, as far as I know.
Yep, the other box.
So, okay, here we got. Do you have any questions? Because I got one.
Yeah, I
go ahead and take one.
I had a question.
I'll take one.
I had a question from Jamal, missed the last name. What's the best tool to use for Android HUD for iRacing and sim racing overall? I don't know about Android, but I do have an app on my phone which is literally ringing right now. So that's why I don't have it on silent. Oh, the girlfriend. But and I'm pretty sure there's an Android version, but it's called Slaughterco, it's called the Fast Dash for iRacing. There's one for iRacing, one for Assetto Corsa. And here's a little bit of a view right there. And it pretty much gives you everything you need. It does have ads that play down the bottom, which, kind of scroll through and it's kind of annoying, but it is a free app. And I think it does a really good job. I have a little...
I put it on your chair.
Oh, it's on my chair, okay. I have a little clip that I bought off Amazon where it hangs from my rim. And it's actually, if you go back and watch a video with where we reviewed the vest. What was the vibrating vest called? The Core Effects.
Core Effects,
The Core Effects vest. I was actually running. I got a lot of questions about it, and I actually wanted to run it for the BenQ piece, but I filmed most of that when we didn't have internet, and you got to have Wi-Fi to get your computer and your phone to talk to one another.
I think you had more questions about that.
Yeah.
That adapter or that mount than we did on the Core Effects.
I think so. A lot of people really, but it is a really cool little piece, and I really like it mounted under the rim and moving with you. So yeah, that'd be something I would check out. That was Fast Dash for iRacing, or was Fast Dash Assetto Corsa. I believe the website's slaughterco.com, I believe.
Somebody just asked, gaming X1X, XIX, or so that would be what, 1121 or something like that. Anyway, what's the Evo 30 wheel behind you? Are they talking about this one or this one? Which one are you talking about? Number 1, gaming X1X, or number 2? I'm assuming the Fanatic one, so we'll see if he answers that. So we got some more questions. We got a bunch of questions now.
Oh, perfect.
I put some in the chat there, or in our script.
What's wrong with my science shirt?
Someone's talking trash?
Well, they said it's wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's wrong. It's not a correct pattern of electrons and neutrons. Oh man, I have an engineering degree. I promise. It's just been a long time.
Sure you do, John. Sure. Okay, so got a bunch of questions. So let's see. First one: TH8A or versus a Club Sport shifter. They're really priced pretty far away. I mean, from each other. I think the Club Sport's like 200 something bucks.
Okay.
And the TH8A is 150. I think it's about $100 difference. I think it's 250 and 150. John hasn't tried both, and I have. The Fanatic is definitely beefier. It definitely feels more like, I want to say a race car, but I haven't really driven any high-end race cars. But I remember back in the day, I used to drive quite a few manuals, like old Camaros and stuff like that. It feels like, I mean,
does it give you a little more that that engagement feel?
Just more clunk.
More
where
clunk.
the TH8A is
It's
a little flimsier. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a great. They're both great shifters.
yeah.
So it really depends on where, the direction you're going and your budget. They both make for great shifters. So if you're on the console and you're running Thrustmaster products, TH8A. If you're on the console running Fanatic, Club Sport. So it really depends. And then on the PC, it's really comes down to budget. So they're both great shifters.
Gotcha.
You got one? Because I got a bunch here.
Maybe you already got this one, but Brian Blackburn asks, so I watched your Fanatic review and still have no idea should upgrade from a G27. Is the only difference that the force feedback feels better? From a G27, there's a lot of difference. I mean, it's the Fanatic is quite
night and day.
It's quite a big step. I mean, it's much stronger force feedback coming from a G27, and way smoother. I mean, a G27, I drove forever, and just going from the G27 to the T300 was a big improvement in terms of smoothness and getting rid of that gear notchiness feel that you get with it. So yeah, it's a big improvement. I mean, we said in the review, when it comes to the Fanatic product like the base, if you're hardcore in the PC, which I assume probably if you guys are here, most of you guys are, then you should definitely consider the Fanatic, and also if you have it in your budget. Is that what you're talking about?
I think so, yeah. He said no, Ferrari won. First of all, this isn't a Ferrari.
Oh, well, maybe he's talking about just the 599 rim. It's a 599 Evo 30, I believe.
Well, that's right behind us, the boxes.
The boxes. We don't
You're
have...
saying behind us. Anyway, this is the original GT rim off the T500.
Yeah, the 599 rim, the box is there. The rim is over on my system right now. But no, getting back to Fanatic, I mean, yeah, it's a big step up if you can afford it. I mean, I will say the only thing, I do think the base is $600, the performance justifies the price, but what we had a hang up on was just once you start adding all those different hubs and rims and stuff like that, you start getting over that $1,000 price point. And when you start getting over that $1,000 price point, then you're starting to get up into servo motor territory, and that's kind of like we talked about with Black Friday and AccuForce. You know, they were selling that base wheel for $1,000. What was the price of it?
Which one?
The AccuForce, the base.
$1,249.
$1,249.
I think it's $1,299 now.
Okay, so
And the DIY version's $1,000, $999.
Gotcha. So $1,300, which if you start buying multiple hubs and rims, pretty much multiple hubs for the Fanatic, you can quickly get up to that $1,300 price point, and at that point, you should probably be looking more at the AccuForce and the servo motor, which is even stronger, and even more so than strength, because you don't necessarily have to have it turned up super high. You don't need to be breaking your wrist sim racing.
If you want to be on the PC only.
If you want to be on PC only, that's true.
Yeah, if you want a console race, then
that's true. If you're console racing, forget everything I just said. But yeah, if you're on the PC, once you get up to the AccuForce, you're getting more feeling in that rim than you are in the CSW.
So Juster2432, I'm not sure what you're talking about with the eye tracking, so maybe you can be a little more clear. So we got lots of questions here, lots of great questions coming in. Actually, let me type Joe McDonald. I just saw your question. You're a little bit down the list though, so we're going to get to you. But I saw your question and I'll answer it here. Or you're curious as to why something's not working. We'll get to that in a minute. Rusty T47. Is it possible to run tactile transducers from a car audio amp? If you have a way to plug it in to power it, I would imagine an amp's going to work like an amp.
Yeah.
I know as far as running transducers, there's a certain decibel level or ohm level or something. Maybe Richard McNaughton can answer this, or one of the audio tech gurus, but there's the amps that run transducers most of the time are made to run low end and not highs and mids. So I would imagine it's possible, but probably not the most optimal way to do it. You got another question? Because I got a bunch.
I don't. You go ahead.
Where you can, go to there. You can pull some of the ones. I got a bunch, so we can go back and forth. I'll take the next. I'll take Rick Fast, then you take DH Paradox.
Oh, okay.
Rick Fast, will Win 10 force a faster upgrade in DirectX to sim titles? Oh, hold on, I cut myself off. And unload the CPU. You know what? That's all dependent on the developer, the software developer. Potentially it can. For instance, with iRacing, they're using DirectX 9, very CPU heavy now. Once they go to DirectX 11, most new cards, or all new cards, are optimized to run DX11 and even 12. So yeah, it's going to take away from the CPU and put more on those graphics cards. Graphics, John, you and I were talking about this yesterday. Graphics cards just keep getting better and better and better, and PCs have kind of, just leveled out and just gradually gotten better.
Yeah, the CPUs. Yeah, it's
CPUs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and I mean, I guess the question maybe you're on the fence by going to Windows 10. I'll say that I'm on there now. I haven't had any issues. Except for some reason, once we got internet back, my clock resets, and now I'm an hour behind for some reason. Anyway, but performance-wise,
no wonder you're always late.
Exactly. So, but from what I did,
I'm just kidding.
I did a bunch of reading out there, seeing if there's any gaming performance, and it seemed like there was maybe a slight improvement, but I mean, at this point, I don't see any reason not to go to Windows 10. It's an easier experience than 7. Even loading back my old hard drive in the computer in Windows 7 and maybe even an 8. I skipped that. You'd have to go in and you pretty much have to activate your hard drive. Windows 10 does it automatically, and there's so many other things that are just make a lot more sense. I like even on triple screens on Windows 7 in triple screens, it wouldn't let me do the preview because it's Windows Arrow, and it wouldn't let me preview what my screens are if I had them minimized. Well, now I can do that with my triples here in Windows 10, so I don't see any reason not to upgrade.
Man, Q&A started out slow, and now we're getting bombarded, but I love it. We're back. Q&A is back. I love it.
You want me to take this one? From
Go for it.
So DH Paradox 74 asks, any chance of iRacing content or DLC code giveaways? Is that in terms of us giving away some codes?
That would be no. That I know of. Hey, you know what though? We have for new members, if you go to our website, there's a banner. Click on it, and you get 3 months for $9. So that's a good deal. $3 a month.
Yeah. To
try out iRacing. So, and we'd like to welcome them back as a sponsor of the show.
Yes, good to have them back.
It is great to have them back. So next question here, and we got a bunch now. Paul Hoggett, do you think that eventually VR will make triple screens obsolete? You know what? It's entirely possible.
Maybe.
Once it's done right. I mean, guys like, I think Richard McNaughton, Aussie Stig, who I talked to quite a bit. Those guys swear by the Oculus, and I just think it needs to get better. I think the resolution needs to get better, but once it does, sure. I mean, it's possible. I know it's replaced it for a lot of people. Replacing the Bat Cave over there, I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not only just, and it also depends what you're doing. You know, my system, the Bat, isn't only for sim racing, it's a workstation. I'll show in the video, I even got capturing some video of me editing said video. So, behind the fourth wall. But so I need monitors, and I guess at some point you'll be able to probably put a headset on and do some of that. But I don't know. I don't see in the current iteration. You know, I do think the gaming element of it's going to come faster than us completely removing monitors. You know, it's like, I mean, if I'm working on something, I have to, you know, I want, hey Darin, come check this out. What am I supposed to do? Here, put this on your head and have him, you know, readjust it for because I have a tiny little head. I don't know.
That's a good point. Well, and you can see, I mean, like running Oculus, you have to have a monitor.
You still have to have a monitor, yes.
But it doesn't look the same. So next question. How many rims does Inside Sim Racing own? Well, we just did that piece on the PlayStation 4 Buyer's Guide. So for the Thrustmaster, we have at least 7. Counting the 2 rims, or counting the extra rim you brought along, or you brought 2 rims.
Yeah.
So that's 9. AccuForce is 10, my Momo's 11, the 2 new Fanatic rims are 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
I just counted 16. I know I missed the 458 rim
Oh,
there.
plus the CSL, 17,
so we might
18,
be
the Fanatic. We're probably
about
if
18.
you count all the, like the Logitech G29, not to brag, but yeah, there's rims everywhere. We need to hang, we were talking about hanging them on the wall would be cool.
Yeah.
We need a place to put them.
Yep, I think that'll look real cool.
Yeah, we got like 20.
We got a lot.
I've like become addicted to getting new rims. I love.
You know, I was thinking about the other day, 'cause we talked about, you know, building some shelving or something and putting them more on display, which I think would be real cool, especially for you guys. It'd be really cool if we had some like the evolution of the rims. Like we had like some of the older like Momo, for me Momo Blacks, and even like.
You know, it'd be great if we had the old Thrustmaster T1.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about plastic. That was pure, no rubber grips, no leather, no nothing, just pure plastic. That was my original. No paddle shifters.
Yep.
Had a little sequential shifter. I don't even have any buttons on the wheel. I don't even remember it even having any buttons.
But no,
How many of you out there had a Thrustmaster T1? That really dates me. Look it up. Go do a Google search. Maybe we can do a Google search in one of the pages here. Actually, let's see if we can bring it up while we're. Maybe you take another question. I'll see if I can bring it up.
I had a gaming. I want to say this is Gaming 19 in Roman numerals. Ask, will John be in the Daytona 24 hours with yours? Well, I assume if we run the Daytona 24 hours, we'll be running together. and would like to run it. We ran it last year with the Carmel brothers.
We were going to finish on the podium, too.
And we were so...
Second. We were going to finish second.
We were going to finish second. We were just in front of the leader of our class on the lead lap, and 35 minutes ago, we had an accident, which was a really freak deal. And it's like, and the brothers were fast.
They kept us up at second. You and I just like kind of kept a decent pace. Those dudes were freaking aliens.
We kept it on the track. They kept us up in the podium.
Second. Yeah. As a matter of fact, when we got in the car, we dropped back to third, fourth, and then they get back in the car and bring us back up into the top two.
Yeah, no, they were great. They were rock stars. But I think Bruno was in the car and just kind of lost it going into turn one. It was like a freak. He didn't know what happened, and unfortunately, turn one is all that runoff, but the car hooked and
snapped loose
and turned into the wall, and we were done.
So what else did we run? We ran Sebring, but you weren't there.
I wasn't able to do Sebring.
It was just me and the other two brothers, and we finished third. 12 hours of Sebring, but that was the only ones we did.
That was the only ones. We had intentions. It's so much work.
We all ran the Indy 500.
We all ran the Indy 500. Yeah.
I did horribly.
Oh, I was in the same race with Bruno, and he almost won. He crashed. It was a crash.
Was it Bruno or Fabio?
It was Bruno.
Okay.
I was running top 5, top 10 the whole day, and I pushed up and hit the wall of turn 3 with like 30 laps to go. I ended up finishing a lap down, and then he ended up battling for the lead in turn 3 on the last lap. So
we're gonna have a special event coming up that is gonna be hosted through iRacing. Nordschleife. We talked about this a few weeks back.
Yep.
Probably at least 6 hour. We're gonna do a team race.
Yep, I'd say at least 6 hours.
Probably 6 hour. Probably going to run the GT cars, GT3 cars at Nordschleife. We talked about doing the combined circuit, but we're just going to do just Nordschleife, so people just have to buy one version. They don't have to buy both.
Yes.
But we're going to be doing that in January, most likely. So, yeah, maybe we'll stream that one. Someone was asking if we could stream the Daytona 24. Maybe we'll stream the... It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah,
do it through XSplit like this.
Yeah, it'd be kind of. That's what I was trying to think. It'd be a good way to stream that and not make it completely boring.
Would it be sucking too much bandwidth though to take away from our race? Maybe we could. We could limit the bandwidth so it's only 720.
Yeah. On
the stream, that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah. My issue is I don't know if I want anything to tax my system any more than those monitors already do.
Well, no, we'll run it through the other PC. I'm just thinking bandwidth-wise.
Oh yeah.
You'll be totally on your own over there.
Yeah.
In your little cave. I couldn't pull up that T1. It was too much work. Just do a search, Thrustmaster T1, and you'll see that.
The Microsoft Sidewinder. You know what? I had one of those growing up. I think my dad might have bought it because I started sim racing in '95, NASCAR 2, and we were using a joystick. Mm-hmm. I think bought a Sidewinder, but I don't know.
My roommate had one.
I don't know if we ever got it hooked up and working. I mean, that's kind of what I remember the early days.
People were running those up till recently.
Yeah.
That was actually a pretty decent wheel. So we got some other questions. Oh, Joe McDonald, your question. On a T300 RS, when I plug the TH8 RS into the base on the PC, I believe you were saying it's not working. Yeah, the shifter doesn't show up or work. This is on the PC. You need to plug it standalone into a USB port, not into the wheel. If you plug it into the wheel, basically you put it in sequential mode and it uses the same buttons as your paddle shifters. So, yeah, if you want to use that shifter on the PC, you should have that. You have those two plugs. You got one that'll plug into the back of the wheel, one that'll plug into the USB port. Use that one, and you'll be good to go. Make sure you get the driver too, even though you don't need it, but you have some more functionality if you do get it.
Had someone, let's see, Aldi Osman ask, thoughts on Jeff Gordon's career? Who are you rooting for next year, John? First,
that's a great question.
That's a great question. First thought on career, amazing career, and it's a shame that the last 10, 15 years of the career were kind of defined by a lot of near misses. There's so many races where it's battling for lead, late caution, bad restarts. All us Gordon fans became very cynical. And also, they had the chase thing, and if it wasn't for the chase, he would have won the championship in 2004 and 2007 and 2014. So it had 3 more championships at least. But, that's the rules. But anyway, amazing career. But yeah, I'm definitely I kind of got a hole now because and I'm sure probably a lot of you guys know who root for different drivers or whatnot. I watched Jeff Gordon since I was 7 years old. 20 years invested. Now it's like, I don't know who I'm going to root for. I don't really have someone that I'm looking at.
Yeah, you know what? Something similar happened to me, except for my driver didn't retire. He died.
Yeah.
And mine was Dale Earnhardt Sr. Yeah. I was a huge Dale Earnhardt Sr. fan. I'd always, rooted for him. And then when he died, I think like the next year I rooted for Harvick because he took over that ride.
And then at least Junior was there, and that's where a lot of people transitioned.
And I've met Junior in person and used to sim race with him off and on, so I naturally transitioned. And I was a fan of Junior too, so.
Sure.
But NASCAR just wasn't the same for me when Earnhardt Sr. died.
Yeah.
You got to take the last question, and then Troy Grimm, I'll get to your question in a second here. We got some other questions too. Can you see that? Here, I'll just.
Oh, I see. Time Runner 414. Does John wear a Batman cape when he races?
He should. In the
man.
Bat Cave.
That'd be funny. Oh, I did bring a little bit of a costume from Halloween that I keep on trying to sneak into a show, and I forgot about it for the Ben Q's. I'll try to do it another time, but maybe that'll be funny. Oh, someone made a comment earlier about my shifting, which I always love reading those comments in those videos, and wanted to do kind of a fun video around that at some point. So, maybe in January.
So Troy Grimm was asking if we could comment on his video. I think he shared it on my news feed. See if I can find it. Oh yeah, here it is. His little bro playing Assetto Corsa on triples. And we can't run the sound here because I guess I could really quick. I guess it doesn't matter.
Well.
Anyway,
I like the setup with the tarp or whatever that's hung up behind the monitors.
And people can't see what we're talking about. If I could pull it up, I'd show you guys. Anyway, it looks like he can wheel it. I mean, it looks like your brother can drive, man. I mean, I think that's what you were looking for as far as a comment goes. But yeah, it looks like he needs to become a sim racer.
Absolutely.
I like the lean. Oh, and I love the lip ring he's got. Sorry, we can't show you guys. Anyway, it's like I was watching. Someone wanted actually that was the next question. Stephen Milton wanted our PSN names, and on two subjects, Star Wars related.
Oh yeah.
The Force Awakens. It's like on a radio show when they're talking about images and stuff. It's like they're talking about a certain picture. I was watching a thing on Sirius Radio with J.J. Abrams, and they were talking about a picture. And they're like, yeah, this is great radio. We can't even show the picture. So anyway.
Well, I feel like that for the people out there who listen to the podcast, which, there's a good little group that does every week. We get a good number of downloads.
But they can always go back and watch the video.
They can always go back and watch it. But yeah, it's always kind of like, I'm sorry I don't have pictures. But then again, I listen to podcasts of like 60 minutes and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, look at this awesome kaleidoscope. And I'm kind of like, I'll use my imagination.
So, Stephen Milton, the other Star Wars subject, Stephen Milton asks, what are your guys' PSN names, want to race with you? So mine's DGanji11. John, do you even have, he doesn't even have a PSN account. So mine's DGanji.
I do, I just don't remember it.
Okay, mine's DGanji11, but on the Star Wars subject, I've got Battlefront on the PS4, and if you see me online, I'm going to most likely be playing Battlefront because we just got internet back yesterday and I finally got to try it for the first time online. So you guys ask sometimes, what do we play outside of sim racing? That's what I'm playing right now. I'm playing Star Wars Battlefront, which, if you want to know, it's very similar. Battlefield, same guys that made, DICE, made the Battlefield. It's very similar to Battlefield, but with Star Wars lasers and sounds and the music playing and the maps and
it looks cool.
And I was flying an X-wing and a TIE fighter yesterday, and I had fun with it. So
it looks cool. I bet I'd be terrible at it, but it looks cool.
If you want to hook up with me and do some Star Wars and team up, let me know. Battlefront on the PS4, I'd love to.
Just had a question from T500 RSTH8RS again. Fantastic Thrustmaster branding. Is AC good at all? And also the follow-up about the multiplayer. Assetto Corsa, it's good as far as I enjoy driving it, but it's definitely, for me, it is a bit of a hot lap simulator, to be honest.
He just asked. He also followed up with, "How's the multiplayer?"
Yeah. And it's. Yeah, I mean, I love to jump in and go drive laps. You know, I've been driving at. It's funny that that Lambo came out in the last Dream Pack, and at first we talked about it after the show, and I only driven a little bit.
The Oricon.
The Oricon, and I was like, I hate it, and I've been driving it more, and now I really like it. So
Yeah, I liked it right off the bat.
yeah, I don't know what it was. It takes me a minute to adjust to cars. You do a much better job of jumping in there and being comfortable. I gotta spend more time with it.
And thank you for saying so. I think for me, it's just I've just bounced around so much in the last 7 years, from title to title.
Yeah.
You know, and then going to trade shows and stuff and not making a fool of myself. I've just kind of learned to adapt really quickly when it comes. I mean, I wish I could translate into being super fast really quick, like when we're, racing with the Ducarmo brothers.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as getting comfortable in a car, I can, make a few adjustments to the wheel or this or that, and pretty much can adapt fairly quickly. But thanks for saying that and noticing.
No, that's true. But yeah, I like to use Assetto Corsa for hot lapping. I will sit down and I will punch out a bunch of laps for an hour. But the AI racing is not great. Probably borderline. You probably just don't even want to do it. And multiplayer, I've done some of, and it hasn't really been very entertaining. I jump into a session and do a race, and there's a crash or people get spread out really quick, and quickly I'm running kind of by myself. So, and then even when a race ends, it just kind of like ends, like back in the pits. It's a very odd. It's just kind of odd and it feels a little bit unfinished. And unfortunately, I don't know if I'm really seeing any progress in the multiplayer for Assetto Corsa. It seems like the game as it is kind of how it is at the moment. And I know they're working on the release for the consoles for next year, so I'm sure that's getting some attention. But yeah, I don't know. Right now, Assetto Corsa I feel like needs more tracks and needs multiplayer to be stronger, and probably stronger AI.
Well, we had Gamer Muscle on the last live show. I think that was our last live show. And he did a piece on, how multiplayer on all the titles should be regulated somehow.
Yep.
And I think that's the biggest thing that people want, they just want to avoid those bad races. It's no fun to get into a race, practice for an event, and then go get taken out in turn one because it's just an open lobby and nobody gives a crap.
Absolutely.
So, man, I don't think anybody's gonna come close to what iRacing's done.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see if somebody else did. And there's some other sites out there, Race to Play and Race Department, that have racing, but they just don't publicize it enough. Mm-hmm. I don't think they focus enough on it. Race to Play's been around for a long time, and
it's a little pricey too.
And Tim MacArthur is the guy that runs that site, and that site is not user friendly. It's dated, and he doesn't really do anything to attract attention to it. But I mean, I think that would be a great platform, for all the titles: Assetto Corsa, R Factor 2, Race Room, all the F1, titles, and Dirt Rally, and if people congregated there and it was set up right, I think it could be a hit. I mean, and it could really give iRacing a run for its money as far as the multiplayer goes. But you sign into iRacing at any given time, and there's 2,000 to 5,000 people signed in. Not all racing at the same time, but you can always find quality races.
Yeah, and that's why I think for both of us, we both kind of default to iRacing because it's just the easiest thing to jump on in. Like even when I was trying to get footage for the BenQ piece the other day, I jumped into a race. I ended up not racing because my ping was too high because we were using some hotspot that Comcast tossed down that wasn't even secure.
I was wondering how that went for you.
Yeah, but I was able to jump into the session, and I was at least able to get some GoPro footage, and I did a little bit of practice. I also jumped in some regular practice sessions, and I was able to jump in and get footage of me driving around other cars, which that's what I wanted to have on the GoPro. And, I can't necessarily do that as easily in other titles. So, yeah, iRacing that's just a really good multiplayer system. And like Darin was saying, it'd be nice if individual companies aren't going to develop that kind of system, that a third party comes in and says, okay, guys, let me take you under this umbrella and let's set up a little more of an organized system and make for good quality online racing. And of course, also, there's always leagues.
Yep.
I know there's a set of Corsa leagues out there that you could always look into.
And R Factor 2 and
R Factor 2
Race
and
Room.
someone mentioned GameStop Car Extreme. Check that out before iRacing. And I agree. GameStop Car Extreme is cheap, and it's a really good title.
Yeah, the thing is though, if you want to start as close to a real racing career as you can get, iRacing is the way to go.
Yes. And you get a lot of content now for that $50 or those intro prices, which if you're a new member costs like $3.
Well, like we have our deal, $9 for 3 months.
Yeah.
So, DH Paradox says Race Room has the best net code. Unless they've improved it recently, they didn't. It looked pretty good when we were doing that test.
Yep.
A lot of it's going to depend on the servers, and it looks like their net code has gotten better, but I know it wasn't the best as far as Simbin. They were running off of the older version of the ISI engine, where R Factor went to 1.255, I think was the last release, and that netcode was, in my opinion, one of the best ever. iRacing's netcode continues to just get better and better. They've always had pretty solid netcode.
Yeah, it's never been bad.
No, I mean there was like in NASCAR 2003, you had like a 2-foot invisible bumper around your car that basically if you got within that distance of the car next to you, you were in trouble.
I just got a comment here. Rick Fast said that he had the Arts cockpit, which we recently reviewed, and said that it's great to model the square tubing, and I'm happy to hear that because I talked about that. It's like, there were a few things I would like to see, and got it over here, a few things I would have liked to have seen, but it's like, thanks to square tubing, easy to drill into, where like the round tubing on the Assetto or even on the Pro model, it's hard to modify that. It's hard to drill into round tubing.
What I was thinking we should do for future shows is get a longer HDMI cable, hook up the second camera, because we're always pointing here and pointing there, and you guys can't see what's going on from outside of this. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chassis set up here, and we're always pointing and talking to them. It'd be cool.
Got a 6 one in the garage.
Yeah, it'd be cool to have that camera and go, oh yeah, hold on, let's switch to that camera really quick. And so anyway, I just thought about that.
Then I have to clean up.
I know. Eric Driggins asks, let's see what time. Well, we're way long, so we got to wrap this up. We were kind of catching up for. Then again, our last live show was 2 hours. Gabriel Russell. Gabriel Russell was saying that we should have a buzzer to stop him from talking.
When they get long.
He was great to have on the show. And speaking of which,
It was.
we're hoping next week we have Ariel Biggs, up and coming real racer. She's on the West Coast here and runs like some midgets and she's looking to like a budding stock car career. Anyway, she did a video on how she went to the World of Speed Museum in Oregon and did some training there. Anyway, we're hoping to have her on the show live next week, and then the following week. Wait, next week you leave, so we got one more league.
Next week is the last.
John's on vacation.
Last live show for a few weeks.
We're all both on vacation, so maybe we'll just do 2 interviews live next week so we'll maybe have Ariel and Glenn. Anyway.
Oh, what we're also having next week?
What?
Ugly Christmas sweaters.
Oh yeah, everybody wear your ugly Christmas sweater for next week's show. I already have one. Do you have one?
Yes.
Oh sweet. My wife and I are going to an ugly Christmas sweater party. I can't wait to show you guys mine. Eric, so let's answer these last few questions here and then wrap things up.
Okay.
Eric Driggins asked, Darin, can I run an i3 Alienware Alpha running iRacing? You probably could run it, but you're going to have to turn off a lot of stuff, I would think.
See, i3 is getting a bit dated, isn't it? If I remember. I can't. It's been so long.
No, I think they even have current i3s. He says his video card's got 2 gigs.
Yeah.
It should run it.
It should be okay. If you're doing single monitor, you should be okay. Listen, iRacing is very taxing, and the really interesting thing is they talk about, we mentioned earlier how iRacing is more CPU heavy beyond DX9, which I started once I got the new card playing around with MSI Afterburner and looking at CPU usage after playing Assetto Corsa, then jumping in iRacing, and even though Assetto Corsa was like 20% CPU and was like flat, and iRacing was like in the 30s doing this. So it wasn't really using necessarily that much more like percentage of power, but it was just, I wonder if all that up-down waviness is impacting like frames per second and stuff like that.
I'm sure it is.
Where are we at?
We already talked about DH Paradox's comment. Jill Ellertson. Any chance you can do an episode where you go through the best rigs you've tested and focus on whether they can be used for normal PC use or other gaming? You know what? There's so many rigs on that list, and John hasn't tried a good majority of those. You know what? It'd be really tough for us to wrap all those up into one. And some of them evolve, and we haven't tried all of them. I mean, the best thing to do is just go back and watch our reviews. I can tell you a few off the top of my head as far as for other normal PC use. The Obutto Ozone, the Next Level GT Ultimate has a keyboard tray. The GT Omega Pro has a keyboard tray. The Obutto Revolution. So as far as doing another, like a complete wrap-up of all the rigs, I mean, sure, we'd like to, but that would be a long show.
Yeah, that'd be hard. But on kind of a topic like that, we are talking about trying to kind of create maybe a landing page on the website somewhere where we can kind of answer a lot of questions, like as far as like compatibility with wheels and pedals and different systems and even adapters that didn't come natively supportive when they were released. So yeah, we're trying to come up with some methods like that to make things a little easier and some good resources.
Yeah, that would be cool if we get that going. So 2 more questions here. I'll take the first one and then you take the second one. So
Okay.
See Martin's question here.
Okay.
And this quick one, Zyzo, will there be some Need for Speed games for steering wheels? You know, I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
I think they've gone more on the gaming side, and that latest one looks pretty cool visually. But I think that ship has sailed. I don't think they're going to I think they're going to be focusing way on the arcade side of the racing stuff. I think their last one was Shift 2. And needless to say, Slightly Mad has also, that ship has sailed, and they're doing Project Cars. So I don't see that happening. And why don't you take that last question? That was from Martin Arts.
Yeah, his question was, what kind of frame rates do you need to be at in iRacing? iRacing, unlike some other titles, you got to be a little bit higher frame rates. I would say you need to be over 100 at a minimum.
Yeah, I agree.
And then you know, and it's nicer if you're more towards that 120, 140. But I even just doing some of the filming for the BenQ piece, when I dropped under 100, that's when I really noticed a snag. If I was able to stay above 100 for the most part, it was pretty good.
Matter of fact, there was one other question that I had here too before we go. Car Cinema TV, have you guys ever used Track IR in iRacing? Thought about trying it out. I don't think I think when we did the review of it, I don't think iRacing was out yet. So I don't think I tried it in iRacing, but I might have tried it in some other titles. And using the Oculus is really similar to Track IR. It's basically head tracking.
Yes.
So if you look, I personally didn't like it. My head seems to move quite a bit while I'm racing. So it was moving where I didn't want it to move. So I personally don't like it. Some people love it.
It always seemed, because I've watched videos of it, it always seemed very taxing on a system.
It could, yeah, I would imagine it could hurt frame rates a little bit. So, anyway, I think that's going to wrap things up.
Yeah, I said we can stick a fork in this show. That was a good one.
It was, and thank you all for joining us. That was a lot of fun. It's great to be back for some Q&A and
live unboxings.
Live unboxing. Gotta love the live unboxings. We have some shows coming up before John leaves. The BenQ, we talked about that. We want to get to the Xbox One CSW V2 piece. We want to get to the Xbox One buyer's guide. We want to get that done. We're running short on time. We got a week.
Yeah, and we're also gonna film some stuff, and I'm gonna take some shows back with me to edit when I'm back in Ohio for the break. So. And
we got our one of our editors, Molly Allen, back. She did the GT Omega Art cockpit review. She's working on the handbrake for us right now, the Fanatic handbrake, and the Bowden Solutions T3 PA load cell.
Yeah.
So she's working on that. So those 2 videos are already filmed, in editing. John's got the BenQ. Do we have any others here? I think that was it.
That was it.
So So anyway, lots of stuff coming. We appreciate you all for joining us here. And anyway, that's going to do it.
Yep. Let's call it a show.
For John Sable, I'm Darin Ganji. Thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. Subscribe. Getting close to 100,000.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you guys next time.